Subscribers, your video is ready. Hello, LGBTQ plus DL men, women who secretly love us and support us. And if you don't identify with any of those labels, you're still free to subscribe to the channel. I found out that somebody is already using the word subbies, so now I don't want to use it because somebody else is using it. And I was like, thank you to all of the new subscribers on the channel. I've been trying to be more consistent with putting or screen capturing people that have subscribed to the channel. So that's why you're seeing them on the video. And yeah, so if you haven't seen your face as a subscriber on the channel, it could just be, I guess, the your page not if I guess if the YouTube is not like verified or something like that, maybe it won't show up. But I don't know. There has been people who have said that they have subscribed and I didn't see their channel show up as like a notification. So I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, I tried to capture all of the people, screen capture all of the people that subscribe so that I can put them within the video to show you that I truly am very grateful for your subscription. And it means so much. And so with that being said, we're going to continue on with the video. I was going to speak on another topic, actually. But I was going to wait to make that video on Tuesday for the Twin Flame Diaries. And also that conversation, well, in the previous video, I spoke that that conversation was important to speaking about the topic that I was going to speak about. And as I was making that video, I was kind of passionate about making the video because I was receiving a lot of messages about it. But then, as I was seeing that there was some pattern around the information, it was kind of like this not wanting to release that, not wanting to speak about it because of that, because it was like a pattern that I just felt like, I don't want to really speak about it. But, it would gain some attraction. But I think that when you are led by your morals and values about things, you act from your morals and values, and you kind of have that respect for your content. So if I do speak about it, it will be very brief and it won't be in this video. But this is also an important video. And we're speaking about something that I had to do a little research on because I know that when people watch certain videos about spirituality, they can often be triggered by the information. They sometimes think, "Oh, that's not Christian like, or that's not this or that's not that." And I think that my idea of God, meeting God, knowing God for myself may be different from other beings. And they have to respect that. And if they don't respect that, that just shows that they they just may not be as aware of the truth of what this reality is. So anyway, the topic is the God of the material world, known as Yaldabaoth or Yaldabaoth. I will be speaking about this serpent lion figure from the information that I have gathered about it. And then I will also kind of reiterate that information with reading some of the texts that I have researched. Now, what I when I discovered Yaldabaoth, it was actually through someone speaking about him on TikTok, saying that he is the son of Sophia. And you know we had that video about Sophia being God's mom. Now, Yaldabaoth is known as being the god of the material world, and also it is known to be Yahweh. So y'all that say, or people that say, oh, praise Yahweh and things like that, when people say that, they don't understand that this God being equal to or being called Yaldabaoth and Yahweh are considered the same, right? From the information that I researched. And if that is true, they also say that Yaldabaoth is considered the demiurge, the false god. He is the God that keeps us trapped in the bodies. He keeps the souls trapped in the bodies. And when I started to research this, it all kind of made sense. Now, I read that I think they speak about the demiurge in Numbers, but I also want to say that there are scriptures in the Bible. I think it's 52 books that are not in the Bible. And what from my research, they weren't included in the Bible because they weren't in alignment with the life of Jesus. And so when I'm hearing these things about like Yaldabaoth and or Yahweh, when I'm hearing this or when I'm reading this information, I'm thinking it kind of makes sense because I think that it's easier for people to digest stories like David and Goliath. And Goliath, I think Goliath was the Cyclops, right? They have that story, but to believe that there was a creature that was a serpent-like lion type of creature that is truly the god of the material world, which would be this world that we're living in. I think a lot of people who identify as being Christian, it would be hard for them to digest that information or to hold that information as like valuable information, because a lot of Christians sometimes turn their nose up at people who believe in fairies and like being able to see auras and like mythical creatures. Like a lot of times when you have spiritualists, they'll be like, some of them will often dress how they feel. Sometimes they may wear gothic clothing because they identify with people like Lilith, or they may identify with looking like a fairy or feeling like a fairy or feeling like a unicorn, and they express these things through their energy. But I think that, to believe that there's a god that looks like a serpent lion type of creature that is the god over this existence, right? I think it would be hard for some to believe that. But I think that the reason that some of these things aren't really spoken about is because they were a part of the Gnostic scriptures. And the Gnostic scriptures have different names. It's not just the Gnostic scriptures, it's like the Gnostic scrolls. And this is also based on Gnosticism, but they are closely related to things about the Bible. So they're not like far away. They're still maybe spiritual based. I think, yeah, Gnosticism is spiritual based on spirituality or something like that. I want to say that I think that my purpose for doing this type of video or speaking on this type of topic is to not have people stray away from what they believe, but to allow them to open their mind to researching deeper into what they already believe, right? Um, and so, what I can say, like when I heard about Sophia being basically Yaldabaoth's mom, she created Yaldabaoth, who was the Yaldabaoth was a chaotic energy, or the demiurge was a chaotic energy, and because he was chaotic, they basically sent him to a eternal hell. And that's where that video about is this an eternal hell came from. Because if Yaldabaoth was in this eternal hell and created us in this eternal hell, you know, basically saying that the demiurge or Yahweh or Yaldabaoth is basically the God that some people see as God or think of as being God when they say Yahweh or whatever, is basically Yaldabaoth. So basically saying that Yaldabaoth was sent to darkness and then there was light. But again, my idea of God is energy, like some people may say a frequency, but there isn't a ignorance on this information, right? And so they have also said in text that Yaldabaoth is the false god, you know, and I think that within the idea of this false god is also a part of the real God, because I think that every inclusion of any type of God has no reign over the frequency of what God is, or the vibration of what God is. I think that it may just be a part of a part of duality. Like they see this God as like the false God, and some people say, they speak of him kind of negatively. So maybe it's like a negative force, but there's also positive forces to balance it out. And at the same time, it's like knowing this information, like it's like, yeah, we know this information, but how how do people discover this information, right? Like, did there's awareness that we can receive dreams that help us to become in alignment with information from the spirit realm. That is known. I'm a medium, so I know that that is true, right? From experience. May other people may not, but for me, I know that it's true. But the thing is, just to think about it, I could receive a message and another person can receive a message and another person can receive a message. And if it's kind of the same, like if it's the same message that's being received, then we can say, oh, yeah, this is like true. This has to be true information because we're all receiving the same psychic, clairvoyant type of message being sent to us. So we know it's true. But how do people discover this information? They do this Greek type of research and things like that. Like, that's understood, but how much of that information is valuable today, you know? But anyway, let's continue on. The demiurge, or Yaldabaoth, also has other names: Sakla, Samael, and his angelic name, Ariel. And so, yeah. But I was very, I wouldn't say disturbed, but it was kind of like caught off guard type of reading when I saw that Yahweh was connected to Yaldabaoth. So that was like that was one where I was like, oh wait, hold up. How many people know that they also connect Yahweh to Yaldabaoth, and they also know him as the false god. But he can't be false if he created the material world, which we know is real. That makes no sense. And Sophia is actually a part of the Bible. Per what my aunt was saying, she is a part of the Bible. And Sophia is known as Yaldabaoth's mother. And some interesting information that I came across was that Sophia was considered the twin of Jesus. And I don't know how true that is because I was or became aware that Lilith was the twin of Jesus. No. Oh, okay. Well, no, that's right then. Cuz I was thinking of Adam. So, it is what is being said is that Sophia is the twin of Jesus. And that isn't kind of related to this because this is about Yaldabaoth, but I thought that was just very interesting that Sophia was the twin of Jesus. So anyway, I may speak about that in the Twin Flame Diaries. Hopefully, if I remember, I shall remember that because that was a big, I guess you can say, discovery about her. Wow. Continuing on, Ariel, his Hebrew name meant Lion of God, and demiurge to what I was researching meant like it stood for like perfect. So that was also some discoveries about his names. Now I saw the number 404. I will look that up and also look up some more information to allow you to discover. Now, the message 404 basically is saying that any word you use to describe a higher power is supporting you. So, we're having some support from the higher realm, the higher power. Um, that seemed like a very positive message. But yeah, they're supporting me within this talk about Loud Debayoth because he actually has a name. It actually is spelled like two different ways. One is spelled with like a Y, and the other one is spelled like Laldabaoth. Laudabath or Laudabaoth. If it's not Boath, it's Baoth because they have like different spellings per his name. But again, this is information from the internet. The internet. Now, it is said that Sophia created the demiurge out of desire. She created the demiurge from desiring to want to create it. He is known as the inferior god created by Sophia. And he is not known for good. The text or information actually said that he is known for evil. There are also other words that describe him as angry and violent. Now, also, I want you to have some awareness that it's important that you know these things because a lot of people, when they say, "Oh, I know God," and they say things like they praise Yahweh, and if Yahweh is connected to Yahweh, basically what they're saying is they're unconsciously supporting something that is known to be evil angry and violent. But I guess if the person supporting them is angry, evil, and violent, I guess it's okay for them to support it. And also, again, this is how he is described in the Bible. I also saw the number 444 and I saw the number 555 in this reading. Like I saw 444 prior to like maybe like a minute or two ago, but I just saw 555 when I was speaking that this is how the Bible describes him. So this is saying that he is in the Bible. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that it was in Numbers 1:18. But if I come across that information again, I will make sure that I put this in that video. When asked who created Yaldabaoth, it is said that the Gnostic Christians created Yaldabaoth. And there was something about Judaism. And just reading that, I'm just like, well, what's the difference between Gnostic Christians and Christian Christians? Now, I want to say that when I research information like this is what I'm saying when I kind of like say that people perceive information differently, and it's partly because there's different information and not all of it is exactly the same. Not all of it is like, hearing like Gnostic Christian, I'm like, what is that? But then when I read what Gnosticism is, and I understand it's like a spiritualism, then it kind of puts it in perspective, like it's kind of understandable. They also call Yaldabaoth a character. And so when you say character, that's kind of like saying like basically the information isn't factual, right? Because a character is like basically like, say if someone is in a movie, they play a character and it's not who they truly are. That's like a character. But the character of Yaldabaoth was created not to subvert Judaism, but to I think if I read that right, criticize fellow Christians who adopted Yahweh's inferiority, if I read that correctly. But I'll put that up in the video so that y'all can read that also and gain the knowledge kind of what I gained of reading it. Mostly it says that Yaldabaoth was created by Sophia. And this is like Gnosticism. And so before we get into that, let's actually research what Gnosticism is so that you can have a actual understanding of it. The short explanation of Gnostic is spiritual self-initiation. So basically their inner dwellings of the self, the soul. When people ask, do you know your true self? This is about the soul energy, right? But speaking about Sophia as God's mom, there was something about him being created in the matter of good. So this is even different from what was read earlier about him being evil. Or maybe that was about Sophia. But from what I read, it was saying in the matter of good. Or something along the lines of that. Yaldabaoth was known also as the personification of wisdom. If I read that right. By creatively turning to matter and goodness. And there's so much more information on Yaldabaoth. Yeah. So it's kind of saying that he was, you know, created to not subvert Judaism, but to criticize Christians in a way. So if if this idea of Ariel or Samael or his other names, you know, and just the ancestors or spirit realm sending that number of 404 and the number saying that there's, you know, speaking any word of a God and saying that they're supporting me with speaking about this topic, right? That is to say that there has to be truth behind this discovery, this information. But I want to say that, like, if you are saying like Yahweh and God, be aware of who you are in support of. But I think that just there can't be a ignoring of this type of information being present, right? And if I'm remembering what I read, there are 52 Gnostic scriptures about a lot of this information. Not just Yaldabaoth, but there's 52 books, 52 books that were left out of the Bible. So that is just saying a lot of information, or a lot of things that we may have been conditioned to believe is true just may not. It is true to the book that just is kind of like surrounded around the life of Jesus, but if there's 52 books that are missing, there's also other information about this entire existence. And when I discovered this information about Yaldabaoth, how I heard his name being said, hearing that, you know, there was 52 books that just weren't in the Bible, that said a lot for me. That was a lot to think about, because, you know, most people who have been grown up in Christian homes, they only know what they have been conditioned to believe. And it's not really their family's fault, because they were also led to believe that the Bible was just what it was to enlighten them on a religious path or a spiritual path. But there can't be a ignoring of 52 books that were left out of the Bible. And I'm sure that if, you know, it was characters created to kind of, you know, criticize other beliefs and things like that, I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of the information may be left out. But having my spirit guides kind of, well, not even kind of, but sending me a message as I'm creating this video, there's awareness that this information has truth within it. But yeah, Yaldabaoth was known to be the false god that created the material world, keeping souls locked in bodies. And that is so confusing, because, you know, we are taught, conditioned, that God has always said, there's no other God before me. And people using Yahweh and not knowing that Yahweh and the demiurge and Yaldabaoth are the same God, or said to be the same God, that is just like a whole another door unlocked about this information, right? But the material world, anything of matter, anything material, the material, the world, anything that you can touch. Because I looked up the definition of material world. What is the material world? Anything that you can touch, anything like with matter, it, material. It's confusing because if this demiurge keeps the souls locked in our bodies, that means that our souls can be unlocked. Our bodies can be unlocked so that our soul can leave its body. That's confusing, if you ask me. I mean, some people, they enjoy their life. They enjoy their soul being within their body, but it's confusing because how is our soul locked in our body? But if that's the false God, then the real God created us, right? If the demiurge is considered the false god, and this false god is known to have kept the soul locked in the body, how can the real God allow this false God to do that? That makes no sense. I'm telling you what was researched. But it's like, is there something that we can do if the soul is locked in the body, locked in our physical bodies, that there's a key to unlock our body so that our soul can be released? But I've also become aware that the soul is infinite. So it makes sense, but this information is like, it's like, wow, like, and that's why I say duality, light and dark, everything is everything, right? Because of this false god. Understand what I'm saying? This false god has our soul locked in our body. Then what is the real God known for doing? And if we have been conditioned to praise this false God unconsciously, and the real God, what if the false God was a God that said, praise no other God before me? So the real God, or did the real God say that? We don't really know. We can only go by what we research. But I heard that saying again, research over me search. The reason that, and I've said this about things within the Bible, I said that, everybody perceives it differently. Everybody perceives this information differently, right? Everybody's experiencing it differently. But wow, it just says a lot, It says a lot about, if there's a false God, then there's a real God. And if there's a real God and a false God, and Sophia, who is Yaldabaoth's mom, was actually was known to be Jesus's twin child. But they talk about Sophia as if she's a spirit that can just, she was in the Garden of Eden and gave all of us pineal glands, is what they said. Like, she gave us wisdom, and that's what Yaldabaoth is known as, like, like wisdom, the wisdom of God. So he can't be that evil, but that's why he was sent to this eternal hell, because he was chaotic. But in this text that I read earlier, it said that he was known as evil and violent and things like that, which is basically like what kind of what chaos. But while there's chaos, there's also the birth of something new, which kind of describes like what I was saying about the mother box, and that uh, the movie with when Kal-El, or I called him Kal-El, but Superman comes back to life, and I was speaking about how the mother box was explained that when there's destruction going on, there's also rebirth. So within the chaos, and that was actually like a Winter Guard show. Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother topic about a whole nother topic, but within the chaos, there's also beauty happening, and when there's chaos, you just probably aren't aware of the beauty of it because there's chaos. But anyway, when I first discovered this information about Yalda Bath, I discovered him as a chaotic energy that was sent to like this dark abyss, or eternal hell. Basically, like an aborted child. Like they told Sophia that basically she had to lock him up, right? And so he was sent to darkness, and he created the physical world, which is the world that we are all existing in. And so if he was sent to this darkness, and it has also been said that this world is a copy of the realms outside of the realm that we are in, right? So what I have kind of questioned is the darkness that Yaldabaoth is in and created this physical world. Is is the universe a part of just that darkness? But the universe has to be the other realms outside of this realm too. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So to make sure that I can upload this video and have enough space on my phone to save it to my phone, I'm going to allow you to research more on this topic if you want to hear more about it. I truly enjoy talking about it, and I hope you enjoyed the listen about this information. And with that being said, interact with the video, like, comment. If you have more information, comment it, so we can do more of a deep diving in it. And you know, I've always heard, you know, lean not unto your own understanding. So there is like a receptiveness of other people's opinions. You know, try not to come with your it's not that and that. You know, information is valuable, but from what I have discovered, you know, yeah, hit the nail right on the head is what they call it. So, the head of the nail. Anyway, with that being said, toodaloo, I love you.